Welcome back to the Motorhome Matt podcast with me, Keith Gooden.
And with me, Motorhome Matt.
It's all brought to you with that leisureShop.com. Good to have you here. And in this podcast, we're hotter and hottest.
Steady.
Understanding your motorhome control systems for your heating and your hot water. But before we get to that hot topic, as Alan Partridge would say, let's talk about the news first, shall we? As we always do. You're off to Germany. No jokes. No.
Nope. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
The team and I are off for a little holiday.
The Caravan Salon in Dusseldorf in Germany. It's a biggie, isn't it?
It's a massive show. I think it's the biggest industry show in Europe. I don't think it's the biggest in the world, but it is huge. We think the NEC show in October is big, and that is a big show. But this, in comparison, is, I don't know how much bigger, a lot bigger. It takes days to go around it.
Is it Ungrossen Show?
It's Ungrossen Showen. It is an huge Showen. It takes days to go round, honestly. It's every European manufacturer is generally there with their innovations, their prototypes, new products and stuff that's coming out across Europe, some of which, of course, we will see in the UK. So, yeah, not been for a few years, so really looking forward to it.
Fantastic. And when can we hear some stuff from the show?
Well, hopefully soon after. We'll probably be posting on socials from the show. It's at the end of August, early September. So keep an eye on our social media channels. And no doubt we'll have some content going out through the autumn and into the winter.
Fabulous. Now, 1 in 10 caravan owners are very naughty. Ripe Caravan Insurance has interviewed 508 touring caravan owners and discovered that 10% of them have previously driven with a child in the caravan when towing, I presume, and 12% have done so with an adult in the back. Well, that's shocking me, to be honest with you, because that's dangerous stuff, isn't it?
It's really silly. I presume the 12% were with the 10%, either children went unattended in the back. You've been naughty. Get in. We're going.
It doesn't sound right,
It's ridiculous.
No, you shouldn't be doing that. You really shouldn't be doing that. You risk a £2,500 fine and 3 points on your licence doing that. I'm surprised it's as low as 3 points. I think that should be a 6 or a 9 pointer.
Imagine being the police officer that pulls over the caravan because there's a kid pinned to the back window screaming, "Let me out!"
Well, you know what the kids do? They get a piece of paper, don't they? And they put it up at the window, "Help me, I'm trapped," and stuff like that. And in this day and age, people take that sort of stuff very seriously. So don't be naughty when you're towing, and make sure that your relatives and friends are in the car with you.
Yeah, absolutely. It must be quite cool, though, going in a caravan, is it? Should I say that?
No, you shouldn't say that.
I've always wanted to go in a tow car when it's being towed. It's like a really obedient little dog on the back of a motorhome, and the steering wheel spins like mad when you go around a corner. It'd be fascinating. But no, I'm not going to do it, and it's illegal and naughty. I understand. I won't be doing it.
He's not going to be doing it.
No.
The NEC show, the big one, is coming up, and Matt is not just an expert here. He's an expert there as well.
I've been very graciously asked to be on the Ask the Experts panel every day at the show at 1:30 p.m, which is an honour, I'll be honest. There's only a small elite group of us, but every day they are hosting a panel on the Inspiration Theatre, 1:30, and you can come along and ask questions of me and several other industry experts. So yeah, do come along, 1:30 every day. I'll see you there.
Yep, absolutely. Come along with the question, how can I best cook my sausages, Matt? And then we'll know that you're a listener. How can I best cook my sausages, Matt?
It's a code.
It is. And talking of codes, we've got a ticket discount code for the show, haven't we?
We have, yeah. If you go to mcshow.co.uk, that's the place to get your tickets for the October show, and use the code MMATT. That's MMAT. To save a few pennies off your ticket to the show. Parking is included in the ticket. Under 15s are free, but they have to have a ticket. And the only aid dogs are allowed in the show, so only guide dogs and so on. So you can't take your pet in and look around the motorhomes with them, unfortunately.
So the website is mcshow.co.uk. Or the way I like to remember it, muckshow.co.uk, and the code is MMAT. No, it's just MMAT. MMAT. MMATT.
It is MMAT. But what's Muckshow?
Muckshow. www.muckshow.co.uk.
That's like a farming expo, isn't it? Muckshow.
Oh, yes. Now, our product of the week.
Oh, I love this.
We love the look at it. Hang on a second. Let's get it. Is it a shiwi?
You had to do that, didn't you?
I had to do that. If you're just listening, that's going to sound very strange. What is it then, Matt?
So this is the freshwater trunk kit. That was me extending the pipe, by the way.
I've never really called that before.
So this comes with... Don't make me laugh. My ribs still hurt, you know.
Yeah, he broke his ribs. Yeah.
So it comes with an attachment that goes on the tap. It's like a universal attachment. So you just pull this bit out, hook it over the tap.
So pull the bit out on the shiwi, put it over the tap, and then connect this.
Connect it to your hose.
Yeah,
and then this extends. Yeah. And then you can bend it and force it into a shape to get it into your water carrier.
Wherever your water
Genius.
is.
Yeah. And then
what's it called?
Freshwater trunk kit. So this is the freshwater fitment, and this is the trunk. And you just squeeze it back together. It makes a great noise.
Completely reusable, as Matt is now demonstrating by putting it in a bag and then selling it to you.
Well, it actually comes. Yeah, well, you've blown down this one. We can't sell this one. Yeah. It comes with a carry bag as well. Look at that.
Oh, that is
little drawstring.
So stylish.
Well, it's going to be wet, isn't it, after you've used it? So it goes in the bag. Yeah. Pop it in the cupboard. Yeah. Brilliant.
How much?
Use it again? No idea.
But not pounds and pounds.
No, it is. It's $14.99.
Oh, it's a bargain.
As we record this.
I'll have to.
Yeah. Well, you could get a discount online as well if you sign up to our mailing list. Get 10% off.
How do you do that?
Just go to thatleisureshop.com, sign up for the newsletter, and get your 10% off. Easy.
Fantastic. So for $149. There you go. It is the Motorhome Matt podcast brought to you with thatleisureshop.com. Today we're talking hotter and hottest, understanding your motorhome control systems. Now, usually I understand you don't get a choice, but you say this is a crucial part of the motorhome that you'll use every time you travel. Just explain yourself, would you, Matt?
So when you're buying a motorhome or caravan, the heating system and hot water system is predetermined for you by the manufacturer. You either get a diesel-powered heating system by a company like Webasto, or you get hot water and heating system from a company like Truma. There's also companies like Alder that do water-filled or liquid-filled radiators. And the Truma control systems and the Alder control systems are there. You can't normally change them. So you don't have a choice in the control system in your motorhome. But people do like to know what control system they're going to get. And it's fair to say some are easier to use than others, and they come with different features and benefits. So the heating system controls can become a factor in the choice of which motorhome or caravan model you buy. So it's important to know what heating system is in it before you make the purchase.
So what exactly does it do? Is it just about turning the heating on and off?
Yeah, turning the heating on and off, adjusting the temperature, and turning the hot water on and off as well, so you can wash up in warm water or have a shower in hot water. That's fundamentally what the boiler does.
So it's like your thermostat at home and your central heating at home?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Webasto, I mentioned the diesel heating system, they've become more and more commonplace. I think they're probably a bit cheaper to install. They're becoming more and more popular with motorhome manufacturers. And of course, they don't need gas to work, where the other systems need gas. Now, bottled gas, as we know, and discussed at length, is becoming much harder to find with a shortage of Cala bottles. So some people are fitting a refillable gas system, but you may want to, if you're going around the UK, you don't want to be reliant upon gas. And of course, diesel is prolific, so having a diesel-powered heating system may be a factor. And some people I know, when their motorhome arrives, they go, "Oh, it hasn't got gas heating, it's diesel, it's new." Now, the Webasto system is very good. Personally, I don't think it's as good as the Truma system, and they are a bit noisier. There's also Whale. They make diesel and gas-powered heating systems as well. So there's a big choice out there. So if you're looking at a particular motorhome model, it's important to understand what heating system is in it and what the controls are and what functionality and benefits and features that it offers you.
So you've mentioned which ones you prefer, but is there a best one?
That's a good question. I think if you live in a part of the country... If you live in a part of the country where it's hard to get bottled gas, then a diesel system is something to consider. Down here, it's kind of hit or miss, really. There's parts of our region where there is no bottled gas. I know we get friends coming to us from Plymouth, customers, and from Manchester, there's just no Calagas in those areas for them, and they come and buy it from us here near Weston-super-Mare, which I find remarkable. So, having gas system for them is difficult. I love the Elder system. It doesn't rely on blown air. The Truma boiler relies on blowing the hot air around the motorhome. We've got that in our motorhome, and I have to say it's brilliant. The Elder system is generally more expensive. It relies on convection, so it heats the radiators exactly like at home. So you don't get hot and cold spots like you do with blown air systems, and it just moves the cold air out of the way. It's very clever. It takes a bit longer to get warm, 45 minutes typically, but once it's warm, it's lovely.
Now, you've been talking to somebody about this, haven't you?
Yeah, we were privileged to catch up with two of Truma's leading lights at the NEC show. This was actually recorded back in October 2022, believe it or not. And I spoke to Mark and Sue, who are from Truma, and we asked them a little bit more about some of the new products they've got coming onto the market.
Why do you come to a show which is full of the end user? Tell us more, Sue.
Okay, well, the manufacturers obviously fit in our products, but without the feedback from the end user, we don't know how successful they are. And obviously, when decisions have been made, when they're buying caravans and they're choosing between two options, they need more information on that actual product that's in there. So generally, they'll come over to Truma, and we have products here where we can actually give them demonstrations, and hopefully that will help them in their decisions on which caravan to go for.
So that's interesting. So based on the heating system manufacturer, you think has an impact on whether or not they buy that caravan?
Absolutely, for sure, because they might have had a particular brand previously, but the specification of the van that they're more interested in on this time has got a different one.
Yep.
So they'll want to know the differences, basically.
And many manufacturers offer a choice, don't they, as they go through the range of caravans and motorhomes on different types and makes of heating and hot water.
Yes, they do, but obviously that will depend on the spend of a van.
Yeah.
Different level entries have different specifications.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Mark, you're here in your operations manager and technical capability. What's the number one question that you get asked, and be honest?
I suppose on our side, it's as Sue said, it's an understanding of the product that we get from there. I'm lucky we've got a lot of the team out here that will explain how the products work from there. Quite often, me personally at the show, it tends to be one of the main dealers or one of the manufacturers that will come to me and say, can you do this for our vehicle? Can you supply that? And sometimes, can you fit it? Because we actually have a team of engineers, so we will agree if a customer wants something bespoke. Sometimes we'll, on a solar panel, we might go to that dealership and put something on for them, in addition to how the manufacturers actually put it on from standard. As an involvement, as most industries and people do, we've moved on our control panel that's been out for about 10 years. We've now gone to a touch screen, so it's I suppose a bit like the iPhones and a bit like the iPads that we used to. It's a lot more intuitive. So again, it's just showing people that and launching it so they know what's available.
And does the new control panel still have the iNet functionality as well?
Oh, you've done your research, haven't you?
No, I've had one for years.
Have you done that?
I'll tell you what, the best feature for me is walking on the beach and turning the hot water and heating on before I get back to the motorhome. I love it.
Wow.
Fantastic, yeah, it doesn't do that.
It's rubbish.
Ironically, it's called the iNet X panel, so it is an evolvement to that. So currently, whereas you say you've got the app, you can download it, you can change the heating, put the hot water on, turn it off from that side. It has a Bluetooth capability in from the vehicle. What you're talking about, having the chip in for sending the messages, ironically, is that next stage. So that isn't out at the moment, but it is due out early part of next year.
When did iNet come out? 6 years ago?
I think it was four years ago.
Yeah.
It's that linking it up, and it's something that Truma have done quite well. So if you look at the air conditioning units, you can actually, into any of our control panels, you can link up, so you've got the comfort of setting 20 degrees. So go abroad, it might be 5, bring it down from 30 or 40 down to 20, but at night when it drops load, automatically the heating will come on in conjunction, aircon shuts off, and it'll hold it at 20 degrees.
Oh, that's really clever.
So you've got your climate control. But the new panel, although at the moment you can't use it through your phone from a large distance, it does actually control more items in the caravan. So it's not just heating, aircon, it's your lights, it's your water pump. So it automatically replaces the manufacturer's control panel in the van. Is that correct?
Yes, but
There's a but.
There's a but from that side. Yeah, we've got the iNet X panel and the iNet X Pro. Now, if you're someone that's had our product in your caravan with a CP Plus panel, it will replace that only controls the combi heater or the air conditioning unit. Some of the manufacturers have got the Pro, where it's integrated into the system, where it then could do the lights and the water, but that's not something you could retrofit.
Right.
It is something that has to be built in with the caravan initially.
So from the beginning. So let me just clarify then. If I've got a CP Plus control panel, this is very techie. You're loving this, aren't you, Mark?
I am, yeah.
Can I upgrade to this new panel?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, it's quite an easy part to it. The data cables are the same at the back, so it will just literally be a slightly smaller aperture behind for this new panel to go into. You're picking the 12-volt panel the same, so any dealer can sort that out for you, or even ourselves, you could bring it in. We would sort that out for you at our Dove Valley Park.
So I want to talk to you about that. So just on the aperture, just stay there for a second. Is there a panel that you supply that fills the hole in? Because if it's a smaller panel...
No, it's slightly larger, so you're cutting out a little bit larger from that side.
Right.
So and that template comes with it, so it's very simple and taking from there.
So it's a self-fit if I wanted to do it?
Yes.
we would prefer you to
I
come
am
down
tempted.
to Truma and see us.
I am tempted. Yeah, well, there we go. So
Yes.
I am tempted and I might try it, and I'm going to let you know how I get on. But if I want to come to you, and this is great for customers and consumers of your product, because you're very much a kind of a backroom brand, aren't you, really?
Yes.
You know, the Motorhome or Caravan arrives with all your kit in it. If people have a problem, they can come to you in Derbyshire, Dove Valley, isn't it? It's massive.
Yes.
And they can come to you and have it fixed or assessed or serviced, can't they? Tell us more.
Yeah, so we've got a two-bay area, and we appreciate that a lot of the dealerships sell, particularly at a show where you might be buying from up north or way down south, and if it's something that there's issues where you can't easily get back to the dealer that you bought, we're happy for that customer to come into us for us to give them advice or rectification from there, and likewise, if there's a product that somebody particularly would like fitting, we will have engineers that can sort that out as well.
So you don't have to go to a dealer. You know, if you're closer than the supplying dealer, people can do that. Is that right?
Yeah, our main function is to support the manufacturers and the dealerships. So we tend to be sort of almost like the relief valve. So if the dealer can't get to a customer, or they can't sort out an air conditioning unit, or they can't resolve an issue that because of this proximity, we're quite happy for that customer to come into us for us to support.
And your customer care team, I mean, Paula is amazing, and her whole team are brilliant, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely.
If the people have got an issue, they shouldn't hesitate, should they, to get in touch, and you'll help point them in the right direction.
Yeah, we put huge investment in that. If I'm honest, you're right. Paula does a grand job, and she's got a large team to take calls, to take emails, and then following on from that, we appreciate particularly from COVID, there's been people that have struggled in getting engineers trained up, working on product, and sometimes it's just about understanding the product. So we have a technical team that's sort of on the road with 6 engineers that will go out and just support dealerships. So again, if there's something coming in, Paula and her team will find the local dealer, get them booked in there, and if that dealer goes, oh, we've not come across that, we'll even send an engineer to give training and support from that product as well.
So that was Mark Tricker, the Quality and Technical Operations Manager at Truma, and Sue Irwin, who's the Marketing Manager at Truma.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, guys. Really great to get your insights into the product range. And I have to say, I would echo what they were saying. If you've got a technical problem with your Truma system, do consider going up to their base at Dove Valley in Derbyshire. They really are super helpful. The team there are fantastic. They are a big company, but they really are like a family business. It's amazing. It's quite inspiring, I have to say. And they genuinely are passionate about helping you. And as I started the interview by saying, why do you come to the show? They kind of don't need to, really, because the consumers aren't demanding their products. The manufacturers are. But they choose to go to invest in that relationship between their product and the consumer, which I find very inspiring.
Yeah,
really good.
To be seen at the show and talk to people as well.
And they love getting the feedback on the product. Yeah. Interestingly, we are now here in August 2023, and the ability to send a text message to my brand new Truma iNet system still doesn't exist. So Mark was hopeful it would be with us the beginning of this year. It is still one of the best features of the iNet control panel, but the new panel, which is very, very easy to use, still doesn't have that capability. You can connect to it on Bluetooth, but I think, well, what's the point of that really? Because, you can just sort of stand up and touch it. You don't need to be connected to it to Bluetooth. I suppose if you're lounging and don't want to get up, then great. But the app is superb. Sending a text message, if that's a feature that you want on your motorhome, don't buy one with this brand new system, because at the moment that feature isn't available. Whether it will be an upgrade, we'll see. But at the moment, unfortunately, it's still not available.
And we'll let you know when that changes. And if you're a bit confused there, Bluetooth is within a few yards of something that you can talk to from your phone or from your computer. But if you're, say, out sightseeing or in a restaurant and you want to turn the heating on back in your motorhome, if it's Wi-Fi connected, then you can do that from much further away. I'm right.
Well, this is via text. So it actually sends a code over a text message. So you could be 1,000 miles away. I loved getting the app out in the pub. Look at this. Turn the heating on.
Turn your heating on.
She's in the van.
I tell you, it's a rock and roll life, isn't it?
I tell you, I turn the heating up full. Jude, what's going on? It's boiling on.
So there you go. Apparently they all do the same job, but it depends on what flexibility you want. That's what you've written down here.
Well, it's very true.
Yeah, so you could apply that to life, couldn't you?
I do, Keith, every morning.
Anything that would apply to.
Anything flexible in the morning just doesn't exist for me.
As we always say, your experience matters, and so if you've got something to add to this, then please do get in touch. We'll give you all the ways of getting in touch at the end of the podcast. We'd like to hear your experiences in your motorhomes and caravans. It's the Motorhome Matt podcast with me, Keith Gooden.
And me, Motorhome Matt.
Brought to you with atleisureshop.com. My favourite part of the whole programme every week is the listener questions and answers. Michael McDowell has been in touch.
Hi, Matt. This is Mick from Jersey. We have a Bailey Adamo 75-4i 2022 model. I just want to ask this question. It has not been homologated for towing. If I upgrade my payload, would that change so I could tow? Many thanks.
Cheers very much, Michael. He hasn't been homologated.
Well, his motorhome has been homologated.
What the hell is homologation?
Really? How many people can it carry and what weight is it?
Really?
Yeah, so when you get the van, the motorhome manufacturer takes it through a homologation process, which in turn is true, which in turn...
I had it with chips once. I didn't like it.
Was it battered?
Yeah.
So it goes through a homologation process, which in turn creates a certificate of conformity, and that is its CO emissions. Are not normally on there, actually. No, that is its weight. So it's gross weight, its curb weight, thus its payload, and how many passengers it can carry when travelling. So belted seats.
Homologation.
There we are. It's an important thing.
We've been doing this for a while, and that's the first time that one's come up.
Well, there we are. Every day's a school day, Keith.
That. He sent you a photo, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. It's him naked in the bath.
Yeah. No, the other photo.
The other one, right, yeah, sorry, yeah, that one. Thanks, Mick. So, Mick, I actually sent Mick an email and said, I need to understand a little bit more about the spec of your Adamo. And asked him...
The spec of your what?
Adamo, that's the name of the motorhome.
Oh, is it right? Just clarifying that.
Bailey Adamo.
In the face of homologation
Adamo.
and all the rest of it.
Adamo. It's a bit like ibuprofen.
Yes, ibuprofen.
You have to listen to last week's for that one. And so he did. We finally found it. It was on the driver's door, I think it was, or the passenger door, not under the bonnet. And interestingly, the gross weight of his vehicle can be 3,550 kilograms, so over 3.5 tons. Which means you'd have to have a C1 to drive it. And the maximum weight it can be with a trailer is 4,250, which I found surprising because that's very low. So it would mean that if he was to upplate it, or literally use the maximum weight, giving him the maximum payload, he can actually only tow 700 kilos, which is not very much at all. It's a camping trailer, isn't it? It's a very small caravan and not really a tow car. So my advice to him is the thing to do here is look at the plate. We've talked at length about this in payload. There are 4 numbers in a column. The first number is the gross weight that the vehicle can be. The second number is the gross weight the vehicle can be with a trailer. And then the third line is the front axle. And the fourth line is the back axle. They are the maximum weights that they can be. But this Transit, the maximum train weight, it can be as 4,250, which is really quite low. So my suggestion to Mick was to get in touch with a specialist that might be able to make this vehicle heavier or have a heavier capability. There's a company called SV Tech. We want to get them on the podcast to talk about payloads. And we will be doing so over the course of the next few weeks and months. But my suggestion was to give them a call, give them the VIN number, the long number, which on a Ford Transit starts WF, and they would be able to advise him what can be done, whether he can make it heavier. Now, that might involve changing some suspension components, changing the wheel size, changing the tyre size. There's lots of things that you can do to a vehicle to potentially give it a heavier payload and a heavier train weight.
There you go, Mick. I hope you enjoyed that. Or is it Mike? Or is it Michael? We've homologated your Adamo, and I hope you're very, very happy. If you can't take much weight, just leave the mother-in-law at home. Boom. Tim Long is in Bicester. Hi, Matt. Love the podcast. And as someone looking to buy a motorhome, you share really invaluable information. 2 questions. No, Tim, not 2.
He's getting his money's worth.
Ask a question.
Go on, let him go for it, Tim. Go on.
All right, then. Can we hire from you over a weekend, Friday to Monday?
Yes.
And question number 2, what are the pros and cons of buying a motorhome more than 3,500 kilograms? I get more payload and space, but as new entry into the market, I see many below £45,000 or over 3,500 kilograms for the layout we want. Auto Trail, he says. Sales folks tend to say you're getting better build quality. Suggestion for your podcast site as well, by the way. Am I missing a search function? As scrolling the extensive back catalogue is not so rewarding to find key topics. I think we'll leave that one out, shall we? Tend to say you're getting better build quality. What do you think then, Matt?
Well, good question. Firstly, yes, you can hire from motorhomeholidaycompany.com Friday to Monday. I reckon 90% of our customers do that, particularly out of season. So, yeah, go and check the website for the really helpful team on the end of the phone as well. Pros and cons of buying one. Greater payload means, of course, you can take more with you. And the road tax is going to be cheaper, oddly. So on a vehicle that's a private heavy goods vehicle, it's £165 a year, has been for years. If you're a private light goods vehicle, the price is going up and up and up. It's currently nearly £300 a year, so it's almost double. So those are, I'd say, the main big benefits. The downsides, you're going to need a C1 to be able to drive it. That's the license category, so an entitlement to drive over 3.5 tons. Life Beyond Bricks, they're a YouTube channel. They live in their motorhome with their 3 cats, and they did this. They upplated their motorhome to, I think, 4 tons, and poor Tash can't drive it because she doesn't have the C1. John has now taken his license. I think 2 years has passed, so she is now driving it around with L plates on with John in the passenger seat. So that's the only way that she can actually drive the motorhome. But without John there, she can't drive it. So that's a consideration too. I reckon it could be harder to sell with a heavier weight because you're narrowing down your audience to an age group that either passed their test before January 97 and had what were called the grandfather rights. You and I both have it. We can drive a C1 or someone who's since taken the test who can drive it. And of course, once people turn 70, they lose that C1. So you really are reaching a narrower age group. You mentioned prices, 45k, and you say Auto Trail. There are a lot of Auto Trail motorhomes which, arguably are good build quality. If you're a salesman selling one, of course they are. But they have very small payloads. At 3.5 ton, in fact, very impractical payloads, 100 and something kilos, which is why they are normally over 3.5 ton to make them actually usable. The other consideration is toll prices in Europe. They could be more expensive if you declare that you're over 3.5 tons, particularly in Denmark and Germany. So if you're going to Europe, expect to pay a little bit more on the tolls. You say drop the thing about the search criteria. Maddie listened to this. And she has actually put categories now on the website. So you can search by categories in a list on the sidebar, and you can filter by topic. So there you are. Thank you very much for the suggestion. Done. So hopefully your search in the future will be easier.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for your questions, many of them, more than two as well. Sam Brain is in Portavogie. Is that right, Portavogie? Or is it Portavogie?
I've no idea. I don't even know where that is.
No. Well, anyway, Matt, I live in and sat my driving test in Northern Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
And I hold a UK driving licence. I'm currently 39 and sat my test when I was 18. I was aware that during lockdown, BE restrictions were lifted and anyone with a normal licence was able to tow a trailer or a caravan. I do not think this applied to Northern Ireland residents, despite us having UK licences. What I find even stranger is that if I was a few years younger or older, I would have a licence with BE on it. My brother, who is 10 years older than me, has BE, and another family member 10 years younger has BE. I find it crazy that I have to sit a test for this. Can you clarify this whole BE situation in NI?
Well, I'm afraid that you're right. You can't tow without taking a test because you're in Northern Ireland. So, yeah, the rules were changed. It was September 2021, and they were lifted in the UK mainland only, so England, Scotland and Wales. So the change didn't apply to Northern Ireland. So, yeah, you are still under the old rules, I'm afraid. You're quite right. There is a whole episode on this, and maybe that's why this question has come up, where I interview a lady called Sharon Sparks from Mendip Towing, and we unpack a little bit about this BE change and what impact has it had on road safety and the future, and also the review of the C1 restriction and whether Parliament are going to lift that and take us back to the old days. So go and check that out as well. But yeah, I'm afraid, Sam, you are quite right. You have to take a test to tow a caravan.
There you are, Sam, in Portavogie in Northern Ireland. We have to always bear in mind as well that you share an open border with the EU, and that is going to have an impact over the years.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah.
Okay, then, if you'd like to sponsor this podcast, the Motorhome Matt podcast, we'd love you to get in touch because we talk directly to your customers and we want to tell them all about what you have to offer. How do people do that then, Matt?
They can very easily. You can check out our sponsorship packages at motorhomematt.co.uk/sponsor. Did you know that we're now reaching over 200,000 people? We talk about over 100,000. It's double that.
That's more than Wembley Stadium.
Can you imagine that? All of us in Wembley Stadium and you on stage.
Yes, with doing my magician act.
That magic act.
Yeah, that magic act.
That's a ticket I won't be buying.
So how do people get in touch?
Very easily. Go to motorhomematt.co.uk/askmatt. We'd love to get your question by recording it on the orange button. Do tell us where you are when you record it, or if you'd rather not record it, you can submit it on the form on the page. You'll find us on socials too, on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and of course on YouTube.
Apple and Spotify reviewers as well.
Yeah, please, if you've not yet done so, would you leave us a review if you're listening on Apple or Spotify? It really helps promote the podcast and get it up the rankings. If you can leave us a 5-star review, we'd be ever so grateful. And would you share it with a friend as well? Maybe there's someone you know who you think, they would find this really helpful. Then go and spread the word and help us share the podcast to as many people as we possibly can.